Shalom family, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the family.
In today's video, we'll be comparing America and South Africa. So if you like this type of content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let's get right into it.
The first topic we're going to discuss is cost of living. So in America, I would say the housing after COVID has really skyrocketed, to a whole nother level. So if, for example, for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, that's just like your standard house in America. It was once, I would say, $150,000 on average to $200,000 to get something. For that same house now in 2023 will be about $400,000 to $500,000 depending on what area that you're in. Now, if you want to compare it to South Africa, that same house would probably be about $50,000 US, guys. So this is a huge difference in housing, and one that if you're trying to save money, it would be way better just to move to South Africa. Also, when it comes to renting, I would say in America it's probably quadruple, even sometimes 5 times as much as what you're gonna pay in South Africa, guys. So a lot of people are surprised by the price difference, but that is a fact.
Now, the next thing is gonna be food. So when we grocery shopped in America, we could get just a few things, not even enough to go home and make a meal. And we spent about 100 USD every single time we went to the grocery store for hardly anything. And especially if you're people like us who look at the ingredients and want things that are less poison, because in America they put poison in everything. Those things cost way more if you want it to be healthier. And then when it comes to eating out, for just the two of us, it would cost us at least $30 a meal for something that's not even gonna have leftovers. So that's significantly more expensive than it is here. We could spend $10, $15 on us two and the baby eating out. And getting groceries, we maybe spend $40 at the grocery store, and that's to get things to make a meal and then some.
Next up, let's talk about transportation, guys. Now, it's a little different for us in America, seeing that we had cars. But one thing that was a huge expense was gas, guys. And then now even more so, gas is way more expensive, by double or even triple in some states, guys. So it would take probably about now, if you want to say about 80 to 90 bucks to fill up my truck, guys, which is very expensive, seeing that I have to fill it up probably about 2 or 3 times a month. So I would have to spend about almost $300 a month on just gas alone. When
we did take Ubers, they were significantly more expensive. We only did it a few times. Going to something when we were going out, and then one time when my car was messed up, I had to Uber home, and it's a good 30 bucks to get you right up the road, which we can go a pretty good distance out here for 5 USD. The next topic we're gonna get into is the food. As for international food, obviously they have everything. America has, had immigrants from literally everywhere in the world, so you can get pretty much any kind of food from different African countries, different Asian countries. There are restaurants, bakeries, things like that, to where you can get all of those things pretty easily, but it seems to be the same here. And then we'll get into local food. So when we think local food, we think of soul food. A lot of people think what is American local food, hot dogs and hamburgers.
But it's fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, and stuff like that.
We think of soul food for us personally, the things that we grew up eating. But when it comes down to it, a lot of those things, come from slavery, come from having things that are cheap, having things, that don't necessarily taste good. And then, we tend to overseason as Americans probably because of that. So a lot of those things kind of lead to things being more unhealthy.
But the food is delicious. Now here in South Africa, things like pub and braai and certain things like that, I feel like they cook them a lot more healthy, and they're just as flavorful and very good.
The next thing we're gonna get into is conveniences. So when it comes to, getting things delivered, that is a huge convenience. We used to order things from Amazon.com, which Amazon is supposed to be coming here, so keep an eye out for that. We will be. But they would deliver pretty much anything. You could get anything off of there, and a lot of the stuff would come by the next day. There were times where I ordered stuff and 2 hours later the doorbell rings and it's right there. So that was really good. And just from websites, getting things online in general, because of the mailing system, the UPS, DHL, FedEx, all these different things. You can really just get anything delivered to your house.
Now here in South Africa, it's similar in a way, but it's not on the same level as America. Saying that in America, it's a little more developed when it comes to delivery. Like they have things in South Africa like Uber and their delivery options also, but it's not gonna come as fast as it would in America, and it's not as many options here. Now let's get into electricity, guys. Now I know in South Africa that is something that is a huge deal with load shedding and things like that. So many people struggle with electricity here, but in America, if the power goes out for even an hour, people have an attitude.
Right.
So electricity is pretty stable, especially when you're in the cities and stuff like that. Maybe if you're in more rural areas in America, it might not be as stable, but overall the country is very stable when it comes to electricity, unless it's like a major natural
storm,
event or something like
tornado,
then that will cause it to go out.
Unusually high temperatures, unusually low temperatures. And one thing I would say about that too is because there's load shedding here, people are more prepared. People have a gas stove, like a backup. People have like a generator. In America, a lot of people don't have those things because those things don't happen. So when it does happen, everybody is screwed. Everybody is running around crazy because they have no idea what to do. Then there's the internet. So in America, there are different plans, usually depending on the company that you choose, which there are a lot of companies to choose from depending on your area. You would usually have at least 2-3 options. But most people are gonna pick it based upon the price, but you can pretty much get some really high speed internet. But you'll spend a lot of money. But for the most part, it's never really an issue with having slow internet unless you pick a provider that's not like a good one or it's not good in your area.
Right. In South Africa, I would say the internet is good also, but it's not quite on the same level as it is in America. The next topic we want to discuss is scenery, guys, and we're going to start with the cities. Now, America is about 8 times as large as South Africa, so you're going to get many different cities that look different from each other just within the country. But most of the cities are pretty modern. But one thing I want to say is in the inner cities, a lot of times it's going to be more of the hood areas in America. Now you have some cities that's going to be cleaner, look nicer, but overall the inner city is going to look more hood. Now in South Africa, it's very similar to America from the cities that we've seen so far. When it comes to infrastructure and the way they build buildings. But I would say places like Sandton is probably, the city is probably is cleaner than most of the cities in America. Now, when it comes to development of those cities, obviously America is going to be on a whole different level.
Then there's the nature part of it. So in America, there are a lot of beautiful things. There are national parks, there's waterfalls, there's beaches, there's, all kinds of things. But because America is so much bigger, there's a lot of different climates and stuff too. So there's states you can go to where it's snowing and you can go skiing, and you can go to another state where it's always hot and then you can go to the beach. So there's a lot of diversity because of how large the area is. Right. But then in South Africa, there's a lot of beautiful things here too. If y'all have been watching our vlogs, you have already seen some of the things that we have seen. Like we went to Boulder Beach and saw the penguins, and we went to Cape Point. There's so many amazing things to see here as well. I do think it's a little bit more convenient in South Africa because South Africa is smaller. It will take you less time, a shorter flight or a shorter drive to get to these things than in America. The next thing we're gonna discuss is security. So as we all know, the crime rate statistically is higher in South Africa, but we feel like it's more dangerous in America. It's very easy to buy weapons. It'll take you like a 10-minute questionnaire to be able to get a gun. It's just the way that things are set up in America, it kind of lends itself to more violence. And then on top of that, like housing in South Africa, it's gated. You need a code to get in, you need a code to get out. In America, some apartments are gated, but people can just drive in right behind you. There's no security at the gate.
Usually.
Like it's significantly less secure, and there are significantly more weapons and more people with mental issues that have these weapons.
Now let's look at some of the main things like mass shootings. We see mass shootings happen in America almost every other day.
Right.
You don't really see stuff like that in South Africa. Also, when things like school shootings, you can't even trust your kids are gonna go to school and be safe, which is a horrible thing to even have to deal with.
Right.
And then from where I grew up, like the hood areas in America, I feel like they were a lot more dangerous than your local townships and stuff out here. Now I know they can be dangerous out here and there's murder and things of that nature, but I feel like it was way more dangerous from growing up in the hoods in America. Now the next topic I want to get into is weather. So seeing that America is so much bigger than South Africa, you're gonna get way more climate. So if you go up north in America, you're gonna get more colder climates in the winter. I'm talking about in Fahrenheit, I'm talking about -30, -40 in some areas with 10, 12, 18 inches of snow, guys. Which
Frozen lake.
Like just insane temperatures. If you don't have the proper heating, you literally can die. And then you go down south where we grew up, I feel like in Texas, it was actually hotter than it is on all the places that we've been to in South Africa so far. So it's two extremes to another. And then you got the Midwest where it's gonna be more dry heat. Opposed to South Africa, like we're in Johannesburg right now. It snowed this year, but that's not really a common thing. But I would say the weather it's a little bit more stable here than it, from where we grew up. And then places like Durban is obviously gonna be a little more warmer.
Then there's the air quality. The air is significantly cleaner in South Africa.
By far.
By far. So I'm sure they do things, spray, pesticides and things like that, the way that they do in America. But they also do like chemtrails and stuff like that in America. Like you look up and it looks like
a cloud.
It almost looks like a cloud, but like in a line. It's from them flying and spraying poison. And since we've been on the African continent, we haven't seen that. And then I saw it again when we went back to America and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like the allergies and all of those things are so much worse with the air quality being so bad. And the last topic we're gonna get into is entertainment. So in America, there's a lot of things to do. Yeah. You can do the regular stuff. You can go to the movies. You can go, go to water parks, amusement parks, skating rinks. There's so many things to do. But I would say in South Africa, we're not missing out on any of those things. You can do a lot of the same stuff here. There hasn't been anything that we wanted to do that we hadn't been able to do. We actually saw that there was an escape room out here, and we did those in America and thought that was fun. And I was like, oh, that's good. We can do that out here. But we haven't really found anything that we couldn't do here that we could do in America. So
to sum everything up, guys, I want to say we really prefer to live in South Africa opposed to America. And a lot is to do with health reasons and the culture and everything that America displays, right? We don't really agree with a lot of it. So we would have to say South Africa. If we had to choose a country to live, obviously we're going to pick South Africa. But in saying that, guys, we just want to thank you so much for watching this video all the way through, and we want to say we love you. And if you like content like this, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. As always, family, shalom.
Shalom.